My name is Shahar Fineberg. I've been living in Istanbul for 3 months, here in Tarlabaşı. I was living in Paris for 8 years. I'm originally from Kudüs, or Jerusalem. I work as a translator, as a writer, I do radio. After Corona and Karantina, and confinement and lockdown in Paris, I leaped on the opportunity. Friends of mine were renting out their apartment, so I took the opportunity to come to Istanbul in search of a new home, to be honest. I started coming to Turkey 2 years ago, and after living in Paris for so long and in the West, I was really surprised to feel very much at home and be reminded of the way I grew up in Jerusalem. Merhaba, günaydın. Nasılsın? Çok iyiyim. So I speak some Turkish, and what's particular about the language is that it's all opposite. Everything is the other way around. You switch up the order of all the words, which is the trickiest part about the language. I've studied many languages in my life, including Latin, ancient Greek. It's the most mathematical language I have ever seen. One of my favorite places in Istanbul is Unkapanı, and in particular the İmece, the epicenter of music in Istanbul for the past 70 years or so. I recommend music lovers and just anyone interested in another part of Istanbul to come here and visit. So, here we are at the İmece, the Istanbul Manifaturacılar Çarşısı, which is sort of the dry goods dealer market of Istanbul, but which is the historical center of Turkish music from the 50s onward. Both folk music and later in the 70s and 80s, what's called Anatolian pop. So Barış Manço and Erkin Koray and Selda Bağcan and all these superstars passed through here to buy cassettes, vinyls, instruments, but also to record. Many recording studios were present in the İmece. Now there are some left, but fewer. Many people walk down towards Galata Tower, for example, coming from Istiklal Street, and they see all the saz shops, all the bağlama shops. But in fact, this here is the real center. They're specialized in specific instruments, and now we're going to go enter one of my favorite shops. I may play something for you guys. We're not so sure yet, but be kind, because my technique comes mostly from watching YouTube videos and listening to a lot of music. I became interested in bağlama by chance. I had always heard this instrument in music, but I never really paid particular attention to it. Then, a couple of summers ago when I was here, there was a screening of the documentary about Petra Nachmatmova, the Polish woman who plays bağlama and who went off to try to find the roots of the instrument in Asia. And it suddenly clicked that I should try it. So the next day I went to a bağlama shop and I held one in my hands and I started playing, and it was magic.
Şu garip halimden bilen işveli nazlım, gönlüm hep seni arıyor, neredesin sen? Tatlı dilim, güller yüzlüm, ceylan gözlüm, gönlüm hep seni arıyor, neredesin sen? Sanki kalbimi bilerek yüzüme gülen, gönlüm hep seni arıyor, neredesin sen, neredesin sen?
I like all kinds of Turkish music, but my favorite style is the Bozlak style, the grand sort of singing of the Anatolian steppes, whose, for me, top master is Neşet Ertaş, one of the great bards of Turkey.
The first time I heard of Neşet Ertaş was actually on my way out of Turkey at the airport, when one of the security guards patting me down saw my bağlama and said, "Huh, you play bağlama?" I said, "You know, just a little bit." And he said, "You should listen to Neşet Ertaş." So I kept the name in mind, and a couple of days later, by chance, a friend sent me a video of Bahçe Duvarından Açtım, which is my absolute favorite song of his, but which requires very serious technique to play. So maybe that one I'll keep for a private viewing if anyone would like to join me someday. Another neighborhood in Istanbul that I find very interesting is Balat, or Fenerbalat, two neighborhoods, one next to each other. These neighborhoods welcomed over the centuries many different peoples. They were, as the saying goes, a melting pot of sorts.
This neighborhood, if you look around, is very colorful and full of different peoples who settled here over the years. We're actually outside of the old city walls, of the Byzantine city walls, and in a neighborhood where during Ottoman times many different ethnicities came and settled here, among which the Greeks and Jews and Armenians and Black Sea folk, people from all around the Mediterranean basin.
It was one of the first settlements of the Sephardic Jews coming from the Spanish exile in 1492.
Here we are standing in front of the Ahrida synagogue, which is the oldest synagogue in Istanbul. It was founded in the late 15th century, around 1494 or 95, I think, and by Jewish exiles leaving the Kingdom of Spain, having been exiled and arriving in the Ottoman provinces.
Upon arriving here, I actually realized that Istanbul was the easternmost capital in this Eurasian story, this huge, complex, rich story that stretches from the Atlantic to Istanbul and maybe beyond. And I think that in Istanbul you're able to see another perspective of how the Middle East and Europe are actually conjoint twins, how the one land flows into the other, and how there's no break in the continuum from between Europe and the Middle East. Okay, now comes my time to shine in this quiz to see how much of an Istanbulite I've become in the past 3 months.
Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire, and Ottoman Empire. You're looking at Üsküdar, and if you're lucky, at Kuzguncuk. I don't know how many, but From Russia with Love takes place in Istanbul. Tünel funiculaire, tünel train. Buyurun, hoş geldiniz. Merhaba. So, let's go. Yeah. Okay, so we've come to the end of our tour around Istanbul here in historic Balat. I hope you enjoyed it. I personally am quite pleased with my score of Neighborhood Muhtar after 3 months living here only. Merci mucho, as we say in Ladino, for being with us, and I hope to see you soon here or elsewhere.